come back on Ella's point about due process. I just don't think we have a system that we can trust at the moment. Last year there was just over 67,000 reports of rape. Only 1.9% of those ended up in charges, and 5 in 6 women aren't reporting rapes. So we don't have a system that we can trust in. We don't have a due process that is actually that gives safety to women. So I just, at what point is there any accountability for sexual assault in the UK?
Okay, and the man behind you, with the glasses.
Yeah, I think sadly it's fueled by social media, and I think social media has a lot to answer for in cases like this. I think I can only speak for me as a father with 3 daughters. My youngest daughter particularly, was approached by boys with photographs of their genitalia, and I think that is indicative, sadly, of society today. I think I'm not sure what the answers are, but I think it needs a cross-party approach to actually get all of the law enforcement agencies together. Women for domestic violence, looking at the CPS, the level of prosecutions for rape and other sexual offences against women particularly. Let's not forget as well that can also be on men as well. And I think voices need to be heard, but social media has a lot to answer for and a lot to say in this, I think.
Okay, Matthew.
That's a really interesting point. And, Russell Brand is a great believer, is he not, in free speech? Should we not exercise our I believe in free speech, but I think we should exercise ours in saying that regardless of the criminal claims that have been made against him, which I think do deserve due process and presumption of innocence before the law, I think we should all say that he's a vile misogynist, a despicable misogynist. I was completely shocked watching this programme. I don't know how old I was in his kind of peak when he was on the BBC and Channel 4. I didn't know much about him. I don't know if anyone else in the audience was like...
2006,
I hadn't watched the Big Brother spin-off thing. I hadn't listened to his podcast or read his book. A lot of people are pointing the finger at the establishment. Fair enough. Maybe the BBC almost certainly should have done more. As I understand it,
he was employed by others as well, I just pointed out. Sure.
But I think it's worth saying that pillars of the media establishment should have done more to call him out, given on what we know and what he's written about and conceded to. And he said in that book, if I'm telling you this, imagine what I'm doing behind the scenes. But I do wonder, and this puzzled me enormously watching the documentary and reading the Sunday Times expose, is who was giggling along with the jokes about rape and choking? Who was finding that funny? Who was applauding? What did that say about our culture at that point, the toxicity of it? I felt during that period that we were moving in a progressive direction. There were more female MPs, more women on boards. And I've genuinely, it's been and on the social media point, as a father, I worry about that a lot. And I hope I can mention hardcore pornography, very violent pornography that young people are getting access to. And I don't fully know as a parent how to prevent it, because often young people are more sophisticated than their parents when it comes to accessing things of this kind. Social media is making our young people sick, mental health. I'm a Ella, I know you're a libertarian. I feel the same way, but I do think regulation of social media is a pressing imperative today.
The woman there in the white top with the stars on, yeah.
I feel like with the misogynist and the misogyny happening a lot right now, I feel like it is affecting mostly the ones that are the most vulnerable to this, especially children and teens my age especially. Those people, the men and also the women who are now accessing the content as adults, their minds are already set on this. They can distinguish between right and wrong. Maybe they've already chosen to go down this path that what they're saying is right. That's up to them. However, people who may not know yet, maybe they're trying to find out who they are, they're getting access to this really graphic sort of disgusting and rude content, and that might be the new path they're taking, and maybe that's not the way it should be. Maybe we should be showing younger children and younger teens a more nicer and more supportive route rather than...
Or more positive role models,
yeah.
You're saying. Kevin?
Yeah, I mean, I've got to say I haven't paid much attention to Russell Brand before it's happened this week, and then, Karen, I don't know if you watch the Channel 4 documentary on it. It was shocking. I mean, it was vulgar, it was disrespectful. One thing, it wasn't funny. There was nothing in there that I found funny at all, in the least bit funny. I just don't understand the theatre putting something like that in front of an audience, or the promoters who would associate themselves with that. Whoever did see it, you might have noticed a comment by Bob Geldof on the documentary, and I think it summed it up quite nicely for me. But
what did he say?
I can't possibly say, but it was quite rude. I mean, some really important points in terms of prosecutions on rape. Absolutely right that people need to have faith in the system. That is improving. There's been a threefold increase in the number of cases referred to the Crown Prosecution
The numbers
Service.
are still tiny, you know. Yep.
It needs to be higher. It's absolutely right. There's been a 2.5-fold increase of the number of prosecutions, which is exactly what we want to see. But you're right, Fiona. It's not enough. I think in Matthew's point, I totally agree. I've got 4 children, including a teenage daughter. I'm very worried about what they see online. We have now legislated the Online Safety Bill, which does, for the first time, put social media giants under the scrutiny, and including potential criminal sanctions if they don't do the right thing and don't control that content on their platform. It's absolutely unacceptable in the situation we are at the moment.
Okay, I want to move.
Can I just be really brief? Just
10 seconds.
It's just that, you know, we move very quickly into conversation about porn, which I think is worthwhile. But, you know, this happened in the 2000s, and it was institutions like the BBC or, you know, Channel 4 who are, you know, wag their finger constantly at us on a variety of issues and see themselves as kind of moral exemplars, who were, you know, who knew what he was talking about, who actually hired him on the basis that he was this kind of salacious, dirty guy who was meant to be some kind of Lothario. So let's be clear about it. But the thing is, you know, in relation to rape stats, the reason why rape stats are so poor and rape convictions are so poor is primarily down to the police and the poor performance within the police. And we do not solve that issue by harming the process of justice, by damaging the idea of innocent until proven guilty. Like I said, we can make our judgments on him.
You've made that point, Ella, thank you. Yeah. Let's take another question, because